Hi, I'm Suzanne Castle, and this is the Thought Leader Thursday. I'm here today introducing you to another incredible leader, thinker, doer, and all-around amazing human who's going to help each of us think about our world a little bit differently than anyone else. From artists to teachers, from actors to moms, from the big names to the you didn't know about them till now names, my hope is that you will connect with a leader who helps you light up in your corner of this galaxy. This is the Thought Leader Thursday show. Hi, I'm Suzanne Castle, creator and founder of The Sparkle Factor, and this is the Thought Leader Thursday, where in about 20 minutes or so, you hear all about a person, a leader, a change maker who's thinking about the world a little bit differently. And I can't wait for you to meet our special guest today, a parenting expert, an author, a speaker who I know is going to help me. We all know I have a teenager and that can be a little hard. So get ready. I know you're going to want to take some notes. So grab a pen, grab a piece of paper. She's going to drop some serious knowledge bombs. Andrew, here's the thing. We all have people that drive us nuts from time to time. Sometimes for parents, it's kids. Sometimes it might be a coworker. Talk to me about a situation that you find yourself like losing your patience.
That's a good question. Okay. The time where I find myself losing my patience the most is when I am just being thrown up in the air and I am kind of just expected without a schedule to kind of go with the flow, which I can do to a certain extent. But once I get home, I'd like for that to not happen as much. But it happens. It's life. Things happen. So yeah, that's kind of my grinding my gears situation.
Yeah, I think that's well said. You know, grinding your gears and managing expectations, right? And when things don't go the way that we think they're supposed to go, man, everything amps up inside of us and we don't always react in the way that we want to react. And the special guest that we have today is an expert in all of that. My dear friend, amazing speaker, professor, collaborator, author, parental lover, change maker for children, wife, mother, traveler, Dr. Teri Rouse is in the house. I've been waiting for months to say that, Dr. Teri. And so she's co-authored a handful of books that you want to check out. Be sure and look at the show notes for those. These are best-selling books that help kind of recenter you towards calm and away from crazy making in your household with your kids. There's Real Peaceful Parenting Triad. There's Craziness to Calm Our Kids. The Tantrum Tamer, my favorite. Calm SEAS, Braver Than You Believe. She's got a children's book. She has all this classroom experience. She's a professor. She's educating the next generation to help them pour back into family systems to have everything amped down just a little bit. Some of her work specifically has been in parenting children who have behavioral difficulties, and because she herself experienced this. So all of this isn't some esoteric ivory tower mumbo jumbo. This is tried and true parenting techniques that she has lived through, that she has excelled in, and because of the challenges that she found, the lack of support that she had as her own self living through these really hard moments as a parent, Dr. Teri went back to school and she earned her doctorate in education, concentrating on positive behavior. She is literally amazing. She travels around the globe and she gives presentations on this subject. And I know that we are going to learn so much about our own struggles with how we react in these moments. Dr. Teri, thank you for being here with us. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much for having me, Suzanne. I'm really excited to be here with you today. And I can't wait to share some of the experiences and things that I've got going on here that I know will be helpful to parents, no matter where you are and no matter how old your kids are.
You know, we first met at an event with some other people that we know, and we were sitting across from the table. And you know when you're just in a room with someone and instantly they open their mouth and you are captivated. And that was my experience with you. Because every time you shared anything, you shared out of this realness of, I have walked an arduous journey and it doesn't have to be so hard. And here's why I know that. And everyone in the room would get quiet when you would start to talk. I'm going to get all goosebumpy. And just with this calm surety to your soul. It didn't matter what we were talking about. You were able to take anything anxious and just repackage it so that we could see a way forward. And I don't know if anyone's ever told you that that's some of your magic superpower, because I know you deal a lot with parents and crazy households, but you also do it for systems and people that are in workshops and rooms that also have anxiety about other people in the room. And I knew then that somehow, way, shape, or form, your voice needed to be heard. And so I'm glad that you're here for the Thought Leader Thursday. And I'd love for you to spend just a little bit of time talking about, the time, the effort that you've put into creating programs that honestly we look at and we go, I should just know that as a parent. This is hard for me, and I don't know why it can't work. But what you've done is take all these really hard concepts of challenging behavior and anxiety and fear and anger, and you've created a pathway, if you will, a system for parents to use that breaks it down in common sense strategies that are easily adaptable and doable. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Sure. So first of all, I started out as a parent and step parent, and my stepson had some really crazy behavioral issues. And he left home 3 months before he graduated from high school. So, and honestly, since then we've lost contact. He's made decisions that are just not good for him or anyone else. And it's really sad. And at the same time, our daughter, who it was in the same household, has thrived. She has, educated herself. She's gone back to school. She's, got a full-time job. She's gotten married. She's doing all of these things. And one thing that I want to make sure all parents, everybody knows, is that these things, while they may seem like they're common sense, they're not necessarily common sense. They're an intrinsic thing that you have to learn to embrace and learn to find what fits you individually and also as a family. What I do is holistic. And what I mean by that is that I work with the entire family. You can't just work with one individual in a family and expect change. It has to come from everyone. And that's what I do. And that's what is a little bit different than a lot of other programs that are out there.
Yes.
And I not only, when I'm working with the family, I'm working with their social aspects. What is it that they want socially? How are they feeling? And what is going on emotionally? Right. And for the kids in particular, obviously, the academic piece of that as well. And during this time that we've been having for the last couple of years, and mind you, the COVID is not what prompted me to do this. What prompted me to do this is that I never wanted another family to feel the way we did in my family, trying to raise this child who just could not cooperate, fought us every step of the way. Everything that we did all the traditional things, and none of those things worked. And when I looked for help outside of that, I couldn't find it anywhere. Right. I couldn't find a group or anything that could help us, that other than things like the wilderness boot camp, which works for some kids, I guess. I'm not quite sure about that, but that wasn't for us. Right. And there was nothing. I couldn't find anything.
And I think some of your genius is that you said, okay, this shouldn't have to be this hard. There shouldn't have to be chaos making every single day in my world. And there needs to be some semblance of peace in a household, whatever that looks like. And so you just picked yourself up and said, I'm going to learn everything I can. I'm going to create a system. I'm going to practice it. And then if it's helpful to others, I'm going to teach it. And that has kind of emerged into your practice and what you're doing and leading. And I know one of your models is this real peaceful parenting. So can you talk to us a little bit about what that's based on and what that looks like?
Sure. So the real peaceful parenting it's a 3-pillar program. Basically, what I start with is sitting down with a family on a call, okay? And the first thing is, what is it that you as a family want? Not individually, but also as an entire family. Right. And quite honestly, parents need to ask their kids that. because sometimes what we think our kids want is not really what they want.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about, well, I want a bike or I want this. I'm talking about what is it that they want from the inside? What do they want to feel? What do they want to see? What do they want to do? How are they feeling about school? How are they feeling about friends? How are they feeling about themselves? And so looking at, and that's, I call it visualizing. What is it that you visualize for yourself and your family? And where are you right now?
Yeah.
And most of us are not where we think we want to be. And I think when you sit down and you look at it as an individual and then put those individual people together as your family, you can create this, you can see the life that you all want. And then you can move to the next step of strategizing how to get there. And that includes things like, how do you talk to each other? How do you talk to other people in the community? And I don't mean, verbal. I mean, how do you interact with them? How do you talk to the people at school?
Right.
How do you get the most out of your job? How do you get the most out of yourself? And then ultimately harmonizing and how you're going to keep that all together with, the 5 love languages. I highly recommend that book, 5 love languages, for everybody. And it's everything that I do is based on positive behavior supports, which basically is a holistic program that is used in a lot of schools. It's so that everybody is on the same page. Everybody is using the same language. Everyone knows what the expectations are. Everyone knows what the consequences of not meeting those expectations are. And I use the word expectations as opposed to rules because a child behaving is not a rule. That's an expectation.
Correct.
A parent being a parent is not a rule. It's an expectation. And the thing about this whole peaceful parenting triad program is that it is individualized because you are the expert in your family, Suzanne. I'm the expert in my family. And while family is family, it's different. We have different expectations. We have different visualization, what we want. And that's what's really, really important, is that we all recognize as parents that no 2 families are the same. And quite honestly, no 2 kids in our family are the same. And so we have to treat and look at them differently. And that's so hard sometimes.
It is hard. And that is, I think, where of all the brilliant things you do, I don't often hear people in this work talk about customization. It is, you take this program and if it didn't work, then you didn't work it right, or you failed somewhere, or you didn't follow this formula. But what you've done is said, I have a pathway here. And that's and I love it. You're like, I get on a call with the family because it's not just fix the mom or fix the 3-year-old who's having temper tantrums. It's, we have to get to peace inside the entire house, and everyone gets to participate in that and understand that. And that's why I kind of started with Andrew about expectations, because I think our expectations are so much of what gets in the way there. Yeah. And if we haven't defined them and we don't have an understanding about them, then everyone is disappointed and frustrated and angry and anxious. And that's not a helpful and healing place to be. And I think that's when a lot of behavior problems tend to pop up.
But also, I loved when Andrew brought up the fact that, he likes to have structure. He doesn't like to just get thrown at things. And that's the same thing. I mean, I need routine. But I don't need routine that is so rigid that if I don't get to something, I'm beating myself up,
Right.
And so a lot of times what happens is parents have this routine that is so structured. You get up at 7 o'clock, you have breakfast at 7:05, you let the dog out at 7:20,
Right.
you get on the school bus at 7:35, and you go to school, and then you come home and you do this and you do this and you do this. And if there's any change to that schedule, all hell breaks loose.
Right.
And that's not good for anybody.
Right.
I mean, let's face it,
Right.
So,
And I think you help people kind of unleash how they need to be. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking specifically is, we've all been around people, or maybe even we were raised by people who have the authoritarian way of saying, well, I'm the adult, this is the way that it should go, this is my house, my rules, right? And I think that what you're asking people to do is say, all right, I'm a caregiver in some way, a parent, grandparent, even teachers. And so why do I need to change my behavior because I am the adult? So what would you say to those people that maybe right now are watching and saying, well, I'm the adult, so it's my way or the highway?
so interestingly enough, our kids see and hear everything that we say and do, everything. And in some capacity, they will imitate everything that we say and that we do. So if we are coming across as that authoritarian person, always. Now, there are times when, as a parent, you have to be
Oh, sure.
this, it has to, but in the everyday situation things, number one, we want our kids to model, or we want our kids to imitate good behaviors that we model, things that are good that we do. Number two, we want our kids to ultimately become proud, positive, powerful adults.
Absolutely.
Our job is to create or help to mold people who are going to be, proud, productive, people in our society. So if we are doing things that are, it's my way or the highway, and we never let our kids try anything on their own, the only thing they're ever going to look for is somebody to tell them what to do.
Right.
And we don't want people to always tell them what to do. We want them to make decisions. We want them to begin to build their decision-making muscles.
Right.
But in doing that, we also, in giving them choice and allowing them to, do things sometimes their way, we also have to help them understand what the consequences of that are.
Absolutely. And that's where the rubber meets the road, right? It's hard to let those consequences happen. So,
Right.
okay, I know you have a lot of resources on your website and as people follow you on social media. If there was one that you would point people to, which one would you say, okay, if this is rocking with you, if what I'm saying is resonating, if you feel like I can help you in some way, what is one resource that you would say, you need to go here right now and take a look at this?
I would say right now, it would be going the craziness to calmer kids. And that is kind of the precursor to all of the other programs and things that I've got going on. It'll give you a good start to, so that if you're struggling with, kids not following directions, or you as a parent are trying to find a new way to look at changing things in your house, that's where I would start, because it starts right there with the positive behavior supports, positive attention, understanding consequences and making decisions, self-care, flexible scheduling. Those are all things that are so, and again, Suzanne, you talked about it. Oh, it should be just common sense. Well, it sounds like common sense.
Right.
But it's not, until somebody says to you, look, these are things that are easy for you to do. Some of the things you're probably already doing, you don't even know it,
Right.
but you're not doing them consistently.
Right.
And that's key.
Well, I think this has been such a helpful conversation, I know, for me. And again, every time you speak, I learned something. And just your demeanor and the way that you approach this work is very much what I think the world needs right now. And I know that you are busy, highly sought after speaker, and you really honor me with giving us time and a glimpse into how to make our lives a little less anxious with the littles around us. And I know that from any age, this can change your life. So if you have college age kids or young adult kids and they're not always making decisions the way that you think that they should, I know that your work also helps in that. So this isn't just the terrible two phase. This is being a parent phase. And so I end every show, though, asking the guest for their own definition of what it means to sparkle. So, Dr. T, what would you say?
I believe the definition of sparkle, what makes me sparkle, is when I can stand in front of somebody and look them in the eye and say to them, you are braver than you believe, you're stronger than you seem, and you are so capable of doing so many things, because that means that I've built somebody else up. And that lights me up. That makes me sparkle.
Well, it also makes them sparkle. So there's some magic there. There's some serious magic there. Okay, so I know that you're going to want to follow Dr. Teri and all of her work. Thank you again, my dear, for giving us time. I'm glad that you were here with us on the Thought Leader Thursday. I hope you'll catch the next episode where I can't wait to introduce you to an amazing human who literally is going to change your life. All right, I'm Suzanne. I'll see you next time.